Well, hello, welcome again to a reading through of the Apology of Sokrates by Plato. And I got up to section 18a, line 7. Proton men un. Now, men un is a nice combination of particles generally introducing a new idea, so proton adverbial. Literally, I am just, so we would say I am justified. So firstly then, I am justified to make my defence, O men of Athens. Pros ta, and the ta goes with the kategoremena, with respect to the things being accused against me, firstly, which are false. So the ta, with regard, firstly, or to the first things that have been, first false things that have been accused against me, and the first lot of accusers. Socrates is going to talk about two different groups that have made accusations. One from years ago that have continued to make accusations against him, such as one sees in the play of Aristophanes, the Clouds, and then the second group that are the ones, in fact, that have dragged him now before the law courts. This is the second group. So it's with respect to the first things having been accused of me falsely, and with respect to the first accusers. But after that, with respect to the things being accused afterwards, and those doing the accusing afterwards, literally the after ones, the ones making the accusations afterwards. Emuga poloi kategoroi gegonasi proshumas kai poloi pala adiete. Might take this bit first. So long ago, so many years ago, many accusers, gegonasi from gignomai, probably something like arose, so many of my accusers arose to you or before you, and they were speaking nothing true. Those whom I fear more, Marlon A, so more than those around Anytus. So I fear those earlier ones much more than I do the cronies, really, the ones around Anytus. And Anytus is one of the people who dragged him before the courts. So he says, I fear these older accusers much more than I do the cronies of Anytus. Although they themselves are also, this lot also are cunning, so we get kai pair plus participle. So although them also being cunning or clever, Danus, very well chosen word because it can also mean dangerous. It's a very loaded word. And they themselves, O gentlemen, are more dangerous. So, but the other lot, that is the ones who accused me years ago, they, O gentlemen, are more dangerous, comparative there. Those who, now we get a participle here, paralambanontes. It's an interesting participle here to choose. It means something like taking you over to their, or many of you to their side, winning you over. So those who, having taken many of you over to their side, ekpaidon, since you were children, they were persuading, understand you, and they were making accusations against me, true, even more true in respect of nothing. I think something like that. So these accusations were even less true. The accusation that there is a certain wise man Sokrates, there is a certain wise man, Sokrates, a Prothesis, one who contemplates or thinks about, a Prothesis, a thinker upon ta meteora. Now this is straight really out of Aristophanes. A thinker of the things in the air, and one who is anatseitekos. This is a perfect participle from anatsetio, to investigate. The one having investigated all the things below the earth, and the one having made ton hato logon, the lesser argument, crato, the better, or appear better. This, of course, was one of the criticisms of the sophists, that they were able to take a very poor legal case and then win the jury over by convincing them the other way. So they were able to make the lesser argument the better. These men are men of Athens. These are the ones who, or the ones, kataskedasantes, lovely participle from kataskedonumi. These are the ones literally scattering this pheme, this story, this report. So these are the ones who were spreading around this rumour, perhaps. They are, so my accusers, so these my accusers are Danoi, are very clever. So, and my accusers are very clever. For the ones hearing hey guntai, they think that, tus goes with the say tutas, those thinking such things, that neither do they acknowledge the gods. Perhaps better, I think I'd rather translate this as show due consideration for the gods. It's not just a matter of belief, it's a matter of showing due consideration for the gods. And that was one of the accusations brought against Sokrates. Not that he didn't believe in the gods, but he brought in new and strange divinities and wasn't showing due consideration for the traditional gods. So, just to do that bit again, so for those hearing this, they think that the ones who are seeking these things, that is the things in the air and the things under the earth and so on, nor do they show due consideration to the gods. And afterwards, these are the many accusers. So it's these accusers are many, who are many. So these many accusers. No, sorry. These are the many accusers, and for a long time, pollen chronon, Ade, and for a long time now, they have been making accusations. Perfect participle there, and still speaking and speaking these things to you, literally in that youth. So it's something like they spoke to you at that age, literally. So furthermore for the etite, speaking to you at that age, that is when you were young, that at age en hey, in which especially you believed, some of you being children. I'll get this in here. So some of you being children, and meirakia, that simply means young men, so sort of teenagers. A technical term here, no pun intended, simply means simply or literally. And we get another very technical term here, eremain categoruntes. So it's literally bringing a deserted accusation. So a deserted lawsuit. What it means is that you bring a successful charge against someone because it's unopposed. In other words, the prosecutor doesn't turn up, so the defendant is found innocent. Or the witnesses don't turn up to defend someone, so they're found guilty. So what he's saying here is that they made these accusations, but it was outside of the law court, and I couldn't give any defence, so it was a deserted lawsuit. So I could translate it simply as, so perhaps literally, bringing a deserted lawsuit, that is a lawsuit in which, and I'm going to genitive absolute, with no one making a defence. So literally bringing a deserted lawsuit with no one making a defence is literally what it says there. That which is a logotaton, most illogical of all, that, now we get hoion te, this is that hoios to ami idiom. There's no ami here, you've got to supply it, which often happens with this idiom. I think that's what it is here, hoios to ami, and it's impersonal here, so that it was not possible to know the names of them and to speak them. And then we get this little aside, plain a tis komoi dopoios tonkane on, except if someone chanced being, or someone happened to be, a maker of comedy. Now he's having a dig here, of course, at Aristophanes, but we know from fragments of other comedians that there were other references to him in other comic works. As many as chrominoi, literally using, so perhaps employing, envy and slander, were persuading you. Now the editor's put a break here because that's a sort of an aside. He doesn't actually say you, but it could be you yourselves having been persuaded, you then went on to persuade others. Or you could make it more general and say those who were persuaded were then persuading others. They are aporotatoi. These are the most difficult to deal with, I think is the best for that one. It's alpha privative there. Those were the most difficult to these ones are the most difficult to cope with. Udika anabibasasthai. We get hoion to ami again here. So for it is not, for neither is it possible. Anabibasthai means to get them to step up to speak. In other words, in a law court sense, to put them into the witness box. So nor is it possible to get them to stand up and speak or put them in the witness box, nor elexi to cross-examine udena, and I think that goes with the outone, none of them entathoi, this is an old locative, so in this place here. So I'll just do that bit again. So neither is it possible to put them in the witness box, nor to cross-examine any of them here, but, and there's the ateknos again, but it is necessary simply hospe skia makain. This is a shadow box, to fight against a shadow. So it's just a metaphor from shadow boxing here. But it is necessary simply as though shadow boxing, understand for me, to make my defence, and elenkein, and to cross-examine, to make cross-examination, and then genitive absolute when no one is answering. Axiosati un kai humas. Therefore, you also, it's literally deem it worthy for the axio. It's something like, please bear in mind, therefore, as I am saying, that there to exist, that my accusers to be ditus, twofold, of two types. Those who are having accused me understood, so one group of two, the ones having accused me just now, and the other group, those having accused me pali long ago, whom I'm talking about, whom I was speaking about, that's present tense. Kai oie thete from oiamai normally means to think, but probably just accept that it is necessary for me, first of all, to give my defence in regard to that group. They're the ones who've been accusing me for a very long time. For you heard them previously having made accusations, and much more than those making accusations who came afterwards, than the ones who made those making accusations who came later. Now we get an, which is, you'll see this in Greek drama as well, just means well then. We get two, I think, yeah, we get two of these gerundatives. One must. So literally, one must indeed give defence, O men of Athens, and one must attempt, ex helesthai from ek hierio, to take away from you the slander which you, it's almost the bias which you, sorry, take the second bit first, en hutos oligo chrono. So, so one must give one's defence, and one must make an attempt in such a short time to take away the slander which you have, and this tautane goes with the diabolane, this slander which you have in such a long time. So that didn't do that very well. I'll just do that bit again there. So, well then, one must in fact give one's defence, O men of Athens, and one must attempt in this short time to take away the slander, to remove from you the slander which you've had in yourself in after such a long time, in polochrono. Buloimein menun, I wish then this to be thus. So I wish this to happen. I really want this to take place. If it is better in some way both for you, or perhaps since it is better in some way both for you and for me. Now, play on poiesai is an idiom. It means to succeed, and for me to succeed in some way, making my defence. But I think this kaliponena, I think this to be difficult. Kai u pano me lanthane hoion estin, nor has it escaped the upanu, not at all, and it has not at all escaped my notice what a thing it is. So it's not escaped my notice what a difficult task I've got, is the sense of it. So it's not at all escaped my notice what sort of a thing this is. Homos, nevertheless, to men, and we get to de. So let this, ito is an imperative, let this proceed, hoppe, in what way, in what manner, in what place is dear to the gods, so in whatever way is dear to the gods. But, another gerundive, one must obey, this is from Plato, one must obey the law, and one must give one's defence. That is the end of what I'm going to call chapter 2.